Hello there and welcome back to my front yard. So in this video what I'm going to be doing is showing how I'm using my new Alaskan mill attachment. It's a 36-inch Alaskan mill attachment for a chainsaw. 36-inch meaning it will take up to a 36-inch chainsaw bar. So here in the beginning of the video, for about the first minute, I'm just showing you how it is assembled. If it's something you're considering doing, this could be helpful to give you an idea of how fairly easy it is to put it together. There's not a whole lot to it, just several nuts and bolts, some metal pieces, and pretty good instructions to tell you how to assemble it and put it together. So there's the front that attaches to the nose of the bar. You can kind of see down inside there, that bar goes up in between those two metal pieces in there and clamps down on that end of the bar. And then you can see I'm attaching the other side, same sort of thing. The bar slides through there and clamps down on the bar. Slides all the way in, and that round metal piece at the end just protects that end of the bar so you don't actually hit yourself or somebody else with it. Then this bar here that I'm attaching on the top is basically the push bar to help you push it across the log. So here I am going to get ready to make my first cut, and I'm just zooming in here to show you a mistake I made. Like I said, I was following the instructions. Apparently up to a certain point I stopped. So I made a mistake and installed the power head upside down. That does cause a bit of a problem as you're cutting, as you'll see in the video and I'll explain, but it gets me through the first couple cuts. And you can see here on the top I have a piece of pressure treated 2x6 which I used in a previous video when I was running my Granberg mini mill. It works pretty well for these first few cuts, but later I come up with a better solution. And you can see it's a bit clumsy this first cut, but I was pretty happy anyways to be able to make this cut. The cut probably took 2 minutes to get through as opposed to trying to cut through pine with my smaller setup over 5 minutes. So you can see here the power head kind of gets in the way. I have to work around stuff, but at this point I had no idea that I had installed it incorrectly, and I was really happy about this first slab, so it didn't bother me. And eventually I figured it out and installed it correctly. So later on I build this frame. The frame is built out of 12-foot long pieces of pressure treated wood, one 2x12, two 2x6s, built into a frame that I basically can put on top of a log up to 12 feet long that will give me a flat surface to reference on to make my very first cut. A lot of people will use extension ladders, but I found this to be a lot easier. It's very heavy, so when you get it up on the log, most of the time you don't even have to screw it down. And if you're cutting on a smaller log like you can see here, all you have to do is slide it over the front part of the frame and you're good to go. So basically you just make that first cut, skim along the top. I just have to know that my very first cut I set the thickness to almost 6 inches so I can get underneath that 2x6. Then I get a nice flat cut right across the top of the log, and now I have a nice flat surface to reference from to make my next cut so I can get my first slab. I throw that frame to the side, which actually gives me a nice surface to kneel on. Then it gets a nice coat of sawdust, which gives me a nice soft surface to kneel on, which is a nice change from kneeling on the ground in rocks and dirt. So here I am making the first cut across this little bit larger log. It's probably 6-7 feet long, maybe 10-12 inches wide. Get across this log in probably less than 3 minutes. And this is solid oak. With my mini mill, it took me over 5 minutes to get across a 6-foot piece of pine. So quite a big difference. And believe it or not, I was going to turn this log into firewood before I decided, hey, I want to see what it looks like on the inside. So let me cut it. And I was pleasantly surprised with the result. As you can see here, the grain is really beautiful in this piece, so I can't wait till it is dry and I get to use it for a project. I think it'll make some cool shelves or benches or something like that. Hey, and if you get some ideas of what I can make out of this, I would love to hear it. Put that stuff in the comments below. Anything that you see here in the video that you have any suggestions or feedback on, anything you'd like to see different in the video, any questions you have, throw those down below and I'll answer those the best I can. So here I am getting my second slab off of this log. This log was actually a branch from a large oak that I just cut down about a week before. And actually there's a video I have out on that of cutting those trees down. I'll post a link here. So here's my second slab. Again, you can see the beautiful grain figure. There's some bark inclusion in there. Really nice looking grain. And you can see wet, it actually is pretty dark for a red oak. Really good looking wood. So now we're going to get into the last slab that I'm going to get off this log. So I was really happy to be able to get three, I think I got like 6/4, so 1.5 inch thick slabs off of this basically branch from an oak tree. Really nice looking pieces. And this whole time, out of all these cuts, I've used the same chain and haven't had to sharpen it. So you can usually get about probably 6 or 8 good cuts out of chain before it really needs to be sharpened for this. So really nice looking slabs. Temporarily stacking them here in front of my garage until I find a permanent home for them. And I do have something I will be building in the near future, and we'll put a video out on that to store all my slabs in to dry. These slabs will take about a year or so for them to dry. I'm going to put them into a temporary structure with some ventilation, and hopefully that will help speed up and evenly dry the wood. These are really nice looking slabs. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or concerns, please throw those down in the comment section below. Love to get your feedback. It's why I make these videos. I like to share what I do with everyone else. Speaking of that, here's some links to some other videos I've put out. Hopefully you'll find something there you like, as well as here is a link to subscribe to my channel. Click on that, hit the bell icon, and you will be notified when I release new videos, which I tend to do once a week or once every other week. Anyway, I appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.